everyone, this is Cat Demon 43 and back with another episode of The Letter. Last episode, we finally finished Rebecca's story. Yay! And we also got some confirmation on some things, mainly the whole shady stuff about the Ermengardes, and also that a person by the name of Eddard Godfrey looks suspiciously a lot like Luke. And when you also get really, when you go back to a few of the other episodes, like at the end of Marianne's story, we see the ghost shifting from being like the dark-haired woman we've seen and a blonde-haired woman. And I thought that was really interesting. I was wondering as to why, and I thought maybe because, and this is all just speculation, that woman who had been killed, who was burned alive at the stake, by being told by Lady Charlotte the entire town did this, killed this woman, burning her alive, who was originally someone to be a slave that Charlotte had freed. And I only assumed to have in her employ because of that. Because of something, Charlotte had her burned. And then, like maybe to cover something up, and then the slave of this woman named Takako, I'm pronouncing the name wrong, I apologize, I'm assuming it's Takako, Takako, or however you want to pronounce it. Again, I'm not Japanese, I apologize. I am very much Canadian. But this woman who died, what if she had gotten Lady Charlotte killed, and somehow, like as a ghost, and somehow that caused Charlotte and the other ghost to merge. Now again, this is all my speculation. I don't know. I hope maybe we can get some answers into it, because we are now starting with Ashton's story. So, and I think we're starting at the party. Now, the question I have for the party bit, is it like when he came to pick up Isabella? Or is it when he's with Rebecca? Because I completely forgot that there were technically two moments, but he said like he did not like parties, so it's probably with Rebecca. But we shall see. Yeah, parties have never really been my thing. Oh, right, before I forget. Ashton Ash Frey. So, birth date December 26th, Capricorn, 29 years old. Height 5'5". Occupation detective inspector. Nationality American Japanese. Oh, so he was originally from America. Okay. Religion Christian. Non-practicing. Okay, so he used to be Christian, but he doesn't do it but he doesn't practice Christianity. But he doesn't go anymore, I guess. Education, bachelor's degree in forensic science. Likes taiyaki ice cream. Shirley, his car. Ophelia, I have no idea who Ophelia is. Old-timey action movies and thrillers. Kart racing, jazz and swing. Sherlock Holmes, justice. Of course he'd like Sherlock Holmes. There was little love between his parents. Though he grew up privileged, he found little joy in student life. He saw the standard testing system as a chore and considers his popularity among his peers to be an annoyance. Oh, okay. So I guess he may have been born in America, but then his family moved to England. Rebecca was the only one he considered as a friend in St. Goretti. Oh, he also went to St. Goretti, okay. Oh, well, yeah, that would make sense. And he was no better than he went into university. If anything, his indifferent outlook got worse with his parents' divorce. Oh. He intentionally took law, but was quickly disillusioned by how heavy-handed and abused the system was. Forensic science, on the other hand, became fascinating for him. He served a brief time as a police officer before he applied to join Luxbourne's Criminal Investigation Department. Early on, he was too eager to deal out justice, but his numerous years in service became quite the learning experience for him. Now as a detective inspector, he's being assigned to his biggest case yet. So that's kind of interesting, learning a bit more about his life. I wonder if we get to interact with his parents at all, if they're basically non-existent. There's always such a hassle and takes so much time off my day. Prior plans and commitments cancelled, all for the sake of playing along with others. Oops. Sorry. I hated them even as a child.
Please, make yourselves at home.
Yeah, so with this is definitely around with Rebecca. Okay. But Mom often insisted she'd slick my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to make friends. Never mind how utterly loud or tedious it was. It was all for the sake of keeping up appearances. To some extent, lies have already surrounded me, long before I've chosen what I wanted to do with my life. Luckily, there were easy ways to tune everything out, and much to my mom's frustration, I always managed to sneak my CD player along. I kept to myself and to my music, had my own little world, until I learned to observe. It's a simple matter of awareness, really. And for some, with keen eyes, a skewed necktie or a simple flick of a wrist alone could tell volumes about a person. I still don't like parties, especially ones as big and fancy as the Wrights' housewarming. However, when there's actual reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission. One that has the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. Yeah, we're finally getting some confirmation on this, too. What the heck did Luke do? You think the man would want to remain inconspicuous after his name was linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxbourne. Oh. Granted, most of it have gone cold over the years, having stagnated without any lead or evidence, but that still doesn't make him any less suspect. Yet here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although having observed the man in this past year, I'm not even shocked. He craves it. The damn spotlight. Constantly yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found in his own party. But that's not the problem here. Because like Rebecca and Zach are here. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends, how close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch you couldn't be rid of. First Professor Clark. Then there's Isabella. I also spotted Z-Man here a while ago, and now... Yep, hi Rebecca. Now there's also Rebecca. Apparently. I want to see just how much of his branching tree there is. Oh my god. It's even bigger than Rebecca's. Holy swizzle sticks. Look at this thing. What? I wonder how big Luke's is gonna be then. Oh my god. Oh, and there's just one right at the bottom that just goes zing right to this. Holy crap baskets. Okay.
Ashton?
Hello.
Becca, what are you doing here?
I'm gonna have to get... It's interesting how it takes me a little bit to get used to the smaller portrait, especially with Ash, considering we know what the larger version of him looks like. His hair looks so different from this version.
I was invited.
Really? I had no idea you were friends with the host.
That explains things. It makes this difficult all the same. As if getting a contact among the staff to sneak a name into the guest list isn't hard enough. The guy almost ditched me last night and might have placed another setback on my investigation if it wasn't for my generous tip. Then, here comes Rebecca, another person to mind.
Well, it's my parents, actually. But that's beside the point. What are you doing here? You hate parties.
I still do. I'm just here on behalf of a friend.
A necessary lie, yeah. I can't bring my own friends into this any further than what they've found themselves in. Because if Luke Wright so much as harms a hair on either Zachary or Rebecca's heads, there will be hell to pay. Worrying about Isabella's brief dealings with him is stressing it in itself already. I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. It would tarnish his glorious reputation, and he values appearances more than anything. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of it. More than, in fact. And on the off chance he does something, I wouldn't be responsible for my actions. What exactly did Luke do?
That's rare. Do you have someone with you then?
Nope, just me. I won't be staying long.
Well, if that's the case, maybe you and I can...
Oh, she's blushing here too. For Zach and Rebecca's sakes, however, I really hope this will simply be another housewarming. Even though something tells me it's anything but. Call it a detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I can't let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar car shows to a stop, and out comes...
Chief?
Yeah, he was the I still think he's the bartender. I still got questions in that, and this line alone is still so funny. My presence here might be odd, at best, but I have an excuse. On that, this man handed me himself a year ago, along with a heavy dose of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector. Can't exactly say the same for my good old boss, can I? Although, to see him here, chatting it up with Luxborn's rich and famous, isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest's wife. Yeah. Still creeped out by that. Just what the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca. I need to...
Go.
There's something I need to check for a bit. I'll talk to you later.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a ride home?
No, I had to take a cab here. My car wouldn't start this afternoon. But what about...
What the shit is going on here?
I told you to get that old thing checked before, didn't I? You can head back with me after this. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya. Be careful, okay?
Hey, be careful! About what
I don't want to draw attention to myself either. At least not until he's given me proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see.
Oh yeah, this.
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous, especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best, yeah. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zach and Rebecca, or forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is making so much sense to me now. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it is raining so hard outside. Like, it's just constantly pelting my window. I hope it's not being heard in the recording. But yeah. Wandering is out of the question as well, when there are guards in civvies stationed here and there. Sure, getting past them is something I can do with ease, but I'd rather not right now, when I'm one of those few snooping and roaming about. It'd be best to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And if their interior designers' drunken claims are to be believed, oh yeah, that...
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
It'll all come down to how well I play my cards tonight. With a good hand, this party is going to give me the breakthrough I need to crack Luke right, or something to prove my suspicions wrong. Maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. I've had an inkling before, a few hunches tampered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears. But one does not simply deal with the rights and get invited to a party they host, without wanting anything from either of the two, or it's the other way around. So, with a last wary glance at the two, I head into the ballroom. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit. By the time the party's in full swing, night has fallen, yet there still isn't a Luke Wright in sight. That's funny. The man can be quite ostentatious, but this, frankly, I'm impressed. Ooh, that looks fancy. I don't even know how many hors d'oeuvres I've already stuffed my face with. It looks good though, look at them deviled eggs. Is that a cake? That looks really good. One too many, probably. The servers are already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over to the buffet table. Blame your employer, not me. He's the one who has the guts to show up late. Besides, most of the guests' idle talk is concentrated in this area. Despite standing under the same roof, the very people they're whispering about, some just couldn't resist. I might as well keep an ear out for any useful info.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem?
Ooh, Suarez, okay.
Tech problem?
It's been 3 years. Sooner or later, the Blighter will put 2 and 2 together.
He might have already.
If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past few months suggests anything, what the heck did Luke do? That, or someone has been pulling the strings. I wouldn't be shocked. This case would not have gone this long if Scumbag didn't have a mole of some kind in the force.
Shush you, we all know Suarez just wants an out.
Oh.
I knew he was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened.
Feh. Glad I did not have to deal with that. But keep it down, someone might hear. The wife especially.
The kind of negligence has always been an advantage. But sometimes I wish I could be smashed drunk while doing this. Having sharp ears also means you get to hear the most unsavory things. Who cheated on who this week? One person's motive for bashing someone's skull against a wall, or a father's excuse for burning his own daughter alive. That sort of stuff. What? Or a father's excuse for burning his own daughter alive? What? After a few years, it gets tiring. You get desensitized to it. But humans could also be downright awful. Sometimes there simply isn't enough brain bleach in the world. Yeah, I can understand that with how things are going nowadays. Sadly, the wine is a no-go tonight, and mostly for show. I'm up for another drive later. For one, and I definitely want to be sober in case something comes up. And something always comes up in assignments like this. A detective inspector dying of cardiac arrest, for example. Well, but I can feel the moment my heart grinds to a halt the second I shift my eyes to a corner of the ballroom.
Hannah Wright.
Oh, yeah, this. Some will say I'm acting a touch bit paranoid, and maybe I am. This is a party, and she's the hostess. It goes to say that she'd take time to mingle with her guests. But Hannah Wright née Evans isn't without her fair share of accolades. At least to the public, she doesn't seem like it. Unlike her husband, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company. or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. She's clean, as far as my agents and I have found, but it doesn't rule out a possible involvement with whatever her husband's up to. Even with Z-Man's personal opinion of the woman, there are certain gut feelings you really couldn't shake off. Hell, Luke Wright came out clean in previous reports until I bothered to take a deeper look into it. What I've found may not be sufficient to bring anyone to trial yet, but it's enough to nurture suspicion. This may be a bit of an overreaction, but no one lasts long in my line of work by being careless.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Aw, she's so cute. All these characters are cute. Dang it. Nothing to be worried about then. She's probably even more careful with appearances than her own husband, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her. Yet even knowing that, the anxiety stays, has been here since the party started. I brushed it off earlier. Who wouldn't feel edgy, right? I've gone undercover in a party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky and has plenty of rooms for error. Usually, though, the tension passes around the first half hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in situations like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier and seeks to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone is watching me instead. Oh, is it the ghost? It is. I can hear the sounds. You can just barely hear the sounds of the ghost whispering in the background. Oh, that's so cool. It has been like this since last week, but I should already be used to this. People would be looking at me, no matter how small or big of a blip I am on their radar. That's what they do in these things. But when the feeling of eyes burning into my back lingers longer than necessary, I've been looking around everywhere now, and then to catch the culprit. No luck. And despite my efforts to push the sensations as far down as I could, tiny pinpricks continue to sting the back of my head, and the ghost of a cold touch creeps up my limbs, until my gaze switches back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. Oh, do we see it? Yes! You do! Oh! She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb. Oh, that is so creepy. Oh, so damn creepy. Even so, no one seems to notice. Hannah notices! Look at that face! Although she's looking away from me, her mere existence strikes. Disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision binds while I stand shocked still and gape at her, like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. I feel trapped in her presence until another guest bumps into me, yanking me out of my stupor. Only then do I realize that I've been holding my breath. Before I could figure out what happened, she's gone. You just saw the ghost, my friend, and I assume that is the very first time. A quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing's amiss. I'm not really one to judge, but I'm sure someone like that would not be allowed in a fancy thing like this. What has the security been doing? Are they really that incompetent? For someone so distinct to easily get in without notice? There should have been an outcry by now, particularly from the host. She's been standing almost an arm's length away from the woman, and yet she simply continues her talk with Rebecca.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Is there something in the food then? That I'm starting to see things. It couldn't have been the wine, though. I'm every bit as sober as when I first stepped off my car. The hors d'oeuvres? But why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke Wright want to do that? Want do that? I think that's supposed to be want to do that. Why would Luke Wright want to do that? He's fishy, but I couldn't see why he'd ever think it'd be a good idea to lace the food he'd serve in his party, when someone like Chef Lee on his guest list to boot. Chief Lee. Why did I say chef? I don't know. He has been linked to narcotics trade. Yep. Oh, okay. He has been linked to narcotics trade. Yep. However, that kind of tactic is below him. That much I could tell. So he's into narcotics. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen here tonight, which I highly doubt it. You just saw it! So...
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, now you're wondering. But there's no time to look deeper into this, even if I want to. Not when a telling silence comes upon the room and draws everybody's attention to the main doors of the ballroom.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the Wright Mansion.
I've been tailing this guy for a while now. Before that, I heard stories from previous officers who tackled this case, none of which are pleasant. Mind, I'm not counting the incident with Professor Clark, yet pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. What happened with Professor Clark? While Wright's good at covering whatever shady stuff he's doing, he's shown to be a really rotten guy. Well, not in my current playthrough, but we'll see. At least, that's the case when he thinks none of his peers are around to judge him. I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases the guy could be pinned with. That's... Yeah, that's true. Yeah. No lying with that. Not gonna lie with that. Standing in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Well, Rebecca already hit him with a book, so... Actually, the urge is stronger, but protocols. My case first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in his place, it should be in a court, with all proper charges filed against him. And I'll only be able to do that once I gather enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode.
Scumbag.
Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness.
I have lost count how many times I've heard that now. Well, no, I know how many times, but still, it's a lot.
So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
Suppressing my annoyance, I prepare to step away from the crowd. Amidst the cheers and claps, now is a good time as any to move. Try to find that something that McCullough woman talked about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the slimeball himself. A fake smile is plastered on my face while I pretend to listen to one of the other guests gossiping about him, all while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I could get any further...
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
Oh.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
Rich people only have two ways to resolve their mess. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, or they create an even greater problem out of it, and it just blows up in everybody's faces. One way or another. Fun.
No! Shut it, you monster! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Crazy woman.
You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
Not even a few seconds in, and this is already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on a television to buy daytime soap operas? You could just go to one of these parties and see the action unfold in real life. You get free food, too. Oh my gosh. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd just take this as some sordid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest who's here for a good time. I need to focus on him, even through this whole sorry tale. So, I wait. I listen. I observe. Interesting, isn't it, though? That's the Chief Inspector's wife. Whoa! That was quick. The morning after starts off quiet. Even the whole Samwell residences seem unusually still. The opening hallway, when I step out, is devoid of tenants. No sounds coming from the other units either. It's almost as if something's brewing on the horizon. Peaceful night's sleep still does wonders for the mood, though. I can't even remember the last time I've slept without anything urgent interrupting. It's a nice break from all the bad news lately. If it wasn't for the insistent buzzing in my pocket waking me up, I'd sleep in. The ringing has stopped before I could move somewhere private, but sleep has also been effectively kicked out of my system by then. Pity. I could use a little more rest, until I have to face the other storm. Of course I owe Rebecca an explanation. It doesn't matter if it's the whole truth or another hastily spun tale. Although I haven't really figured out how to go about this yet. Unlike Zach and Isabella, who don't usually ask questions and are content with what little I could share, Rebecca's rather quick on the trigger. It will have to be set aside for later, though.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Oh my god.
Baggers, watch out. Can't beat me.
Your phone is...
Trouble? Better not
You need a
lie.
new phone, buddy.
I'm a cool dude. Pretty fly for an Asian guy.
Oh my god, I forgot the ringtone. That's funny. The chief name stares back at me almost as if mocking me. Sad. It would have been nice to just chill after last night, or maybe half listen to the news. Sure, it's the same thing we've been hearing lately. Still beats standing outside in the chilly Luxbourne morning on the phone with my boss. Sighing, I answer it, if only to get it over this over with.
Frey, where are you right now?
Now that's a tone I didn't expect from him at this hour. Just thinking how this'll go already gives me a headache. Immediately, I reach up and pinch the bridge of my nose to stave it off.
This is why I won't ever drink myself senseless.
What was that?
Nothing, Chief. A pleasant morning to you, too.
He's probably calling to rag on me or complain about his wife, which is really none of my business unless it affects my case. It seems like the usual rich man cheats on wife deal. Although I would have followed up on it if it were somebody else's wife. But, figuring it's the chief's, hey, I trust him to come clean if the missus is related to the Wright's shady dealings. This is why I left before they even hauled the woman out last night. I'm not going to go around investigating cheating husbands and wives when it's probably just that. Chief appears to have a different idea in mind, though.
There's nothing pleasant in the morning. Anyway, where are you? I told you millions of times before to keep your lines open.
He did, and not only him. Zach, Rebecca, Isabella, all of them have said the same thing numerous times in the past. But I was undercover last night. A phone call is the last thing I want to happen when there are other things I need to focus on at the time. Besides, we have radios and work-issue phones. Why isn't he using those channels if this is urgent?
Just woke up, sir. As awesome as it is to hear your voice this morning, it really is early. If you could give me a few minutes just to wake myself up, that'd be swell.
Oh my god.
No need for that. This won't take long.
Is something wrong? Am I needed at the precinct ASAP?
Oh no, everything's good over there. Just... Look, kid. Frey. Don't take this personally, alright? You're off the Luxborn firm case. Starting today.
Well, I did not expect to hear that either. This must be some kind of a cosmic joke. I allow some awkward seconds to pass. Chief must be pulling another one of his awful pranks. Out of his bad mood or a severe hangover, maybe? Everyone knows that when given the chance, he exercises no control with his drinking. If it wasn't for his wife causing a stir, he'd probably be trashed an hour in at the party. He likely drank more after they threw her out of the ballroom. Besides, his sense of humor has never been good. It's just infuriating most of the time. But when he doesn't follow it up... If I sound a tiny bit frustrated speaking to my superior, I'm not the one to blame.
Wait, no. What? Are you kidding, Chief? Is this one of your practical jokes again? The Temps won't say anything about it, but I...
It's not that. They're orders. From the higher-ups.
Ah, the higher-ups. Yes, my favorite word. Since when did the higher-ups ever cared about what the Criminal Investigation Department did? As far as I could tell, they don't give a hoot if CID is filled with cold cases, as long as we keep the spending low. When I need to view those old case files, though, they're locked away in the archives. You're gonna have to crack with the higher-ups. I need access to the reports. See if the higher-ups would allow it. Every step, every move in this case, there isn't one that hasn't been gated by some authority. If it's not the chief, it's the commissioner, or so they always tell me. It makes no wonder why they even bothered assigning it to anyone. Not a single one of them has done anything to help move the case. And they wonder why it has taken this long for even a hint of progress to show?
You can't just drop this on me. You can't just take me off like that.
Yes, I can. And I'm sorry, Ashton. You're a good detective. One of the best I've seen in years, but...
3 years, Chief. 3 years!
3 years since the anonymous tech leak blew up. Since Luke Wright's name was openly linked to several nasty dealings with Luxborn's corporate world. Some of them involving deaths. Oh. Okay. 3 years, and I was the only one who made it this far. Made much progress that officers with more experience weren't able to do when they handled this case. Just within a year, and with barely any help from the damn brass at that. Of course I'll be pissed.
Do you know what would have happened if I didn't work my ass off on this thing? If I didn't dedicate a whole year of my time on it? It would have gone cold, like every fucking case Luke Wright has been linked to. I saved this from getting thrown into the archives, sir. I'm getting close. If you could just...
I'm fully aware of what you've done, Frey, but the Commissioner hasn't been happy with your progress. Still too slow by their standards.
Too slow?
Oh, that is one very pissed off expression.
Well, what about those reports I filed? I've documented every freaking thing for them. I've given you every important lead I can gather. Isn't that enough?
They need results, not a bunch of research papers. Not one baseless assumption after another. Concrete proof, Frey. I'm really sorry. They've already made a decision. They're going to pass this on to someone who's been in the force longer. Someone who has more experience.
Someone who has more experience?
They meant nothing by it, but you're still too young to work on a case this big.
Chief, I've already done more than what those old farts ever did behind their desks. All of it, within just a year of being assigned to this.
Watch your language, Frey. Those are your superiors,
I'm not some damn rookie fresh out of training. I'm as qualified as they are.
Futile, I know it is. They'd never say it within my earshot, but from the very minute I stepped into their precinct, the lot of them had underestimated me. and from the stairs alone to the assignments I get. To them, I'm still just a kid, too young, too green, too inexperienced. And once they pull that card on me, every argument I have gets thrown out the window. No matter how logical it is, how much I've accomplished, what the record says, or the amount of work I've put into every investigation they've thrown my way.
We're all aware of your skills, kid. You wouldn't have that badge and rank if you weren't good enough. However, this case is just not for you. Too high profile, too risky to put a good officer like you in harm's way.
Can he even hear himself? That reasoning is odd in itself. No one joins this line of work without knowing the dangers of it.
Don't I get a second chance? You said it yourself. I'm a good detective. It'll just be a matter of time before we can close this.
It doesn't matter what I think, Frey. You're off the case, and that's final. I expect all related files and documents on my desk by Monday morning. And don't even try to go touch anything. I know how hard-headed and determined you are.
Chief, please. A few more weeks. I'll have the proper evidence left on your desk by then. I swear it won't take longer than that.
Fred, it's too late, boy. I've already informed the other officers. You aren't to be allowed access until you've been given a new assignment. Hell, just keep out of the precinct, Frey. Take the weekend off.
Seriously, Chief, is this about last night? If this is about me being at that party, I have a good reason for...
You were at the party.
It makes me pause. His wary tone, the sudden careful note in his voice. Slowly, a frown forms in my face, my eyebrows knitting together in confusion. Much as I hate to say this about my own boss, there's also suspicion in it. Yeah, and plus, when we were with Hana, the chief was there in the morning, screaming about a crying woman. So maybe that's linked, that'll be brought up here. Hard not to think of it that way, seeing how he acted around Hana Wright last night. Is he worried? Why should he be? Everyone who's anyone was invited. I didn't doubt for a second why he received an invite, even if his presence was questionable. There's something wrong, and I've intentionally walked into it. All I have is a sneaking suspicion, but when one looks at this from a different angle, put everything together, why the hell I've been taken off the case might be for the same reason he was there in the first place. Fuck.
Yes, Chief, I was. For a good reason. What were you doing there? I know we don't have a strict rule against attending functions, but that was...
He coughs, and it almost sounds like he's choking on his own excuses? Lies? I don't want to accuse him of anything, yet. He's someone I've respected since I joined LPD. Even with his bizarre sense of humor and tendency to procrastinate. He's obviously competent enough to get the job done. He wouldn't be Chief Inspector of Luxborn Police if he wasn't. He wouldn't last years in service without some track record backing him. Unless that, too, is a fluke, and what's backing him is not something, but someone. Oh. Oh, shit. Fucking hell. Fucking shit.
Chief Harvey, about last night with the...
Yeah, I didn't realize that he swears a lot, but he swears a lot. Jesus, Luke.
Why does it matter, Frey? This isn't about that.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I'll recite the whole damn oath we've taken upon being sworn into service if I can, but at this point it seems too late to remind him of that. He's probably already moved from serving and protecting people, to serving and protecting his own interests. Damn it. I've suspected the upper brass of this, even the lower ranked subordinates in the force, but from my own boss? Shit, no wonder that leak didn't lead anywhere. Someone closer might have been pulling the strings. I might have been set up to fail long before the fucking case has been assigned to me. But I don't want to just give this up. I don't want to believe I've wasted an entire year for this. I don't want this to be the kind of news to tell Professor Clark after all those promises I've given the man.
I just want to know, sir, at the party, with Luke and Hana Wright, you were...
Monday, Detective Inspector. First thing in the morning. to see it all on my table, understood?
This isn't.
Frey, am I understood?
What else can I do than smile and nod? With my own superior expecting an answer, using that tone, brushing my questions off as easy as discarding a dead body. Ugh.
Yes. Yes, sir.
He cuts the line as soon as the words are out. You're off the case, Frey. Just like that. Yeah, he is so unhappy. Ashton Frey received a phone call from the chief of Luxbourne Police first thing in the morning, informing him that he had been taken off the Luxbourne firm case. Although his protest fell on deaf ears, this sudden turn of events proved a hunch. Funny why this still caught me off guard. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is, how far from reality everything I've believed in as a dreamy-eyed kid. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with the politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Yeah, she is done with your shit. Instead, she just looks, well, the storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now. Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although, I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Would sleep again.
That's... Why did that sound so cute to me? I don't know, but it did.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me, but at this point, our friendship and our lives, how does she still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I need. Yes. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things Z-Man says, the part where Rebecca scares him, sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already. But the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want. If you want, I'd even kneel or something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash! For the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out. You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to make time for your friends?
I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did it to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. What? By a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife. Professor Clark? But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out, right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that, doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them out of harm. It's all in her eyes, in the tight line of her lips, and her furrowed brows. The hurt. The day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this? It is still confidential.
It's confidential, Rebecca.
Oh, went up. I wonder how many times I've told her that. And not just her, my dad, my mom, Zach, and even Isabella. How many times have I told them what essentially boiled down to mind your own business, to make sure they're all safe, to keep them out of danger. My job isn't a game. It isn't as glamorous as the television portrays it to be. I had thought so, too, as a child. I was so clueless back then, wasn't I? Boy, did I learn. But boy, did I learn. The good guys don't always win. Justice isn't always served. Investigation is not looking at a crime scene once and getting a eureka moment. It's sleepless nights at the crime lab with the tech guys. It's several days wearing the same clothes with Chinese takeout stains because I'm staking out a place. It's frustration when the bureaucracy hinders you from looking into a case any further, or when you know the suspect is guilty but they get away scot-free on a technicality. It's seeing anger and pain and despair with every case.
I know you have a mountain of questions, but I've told you this so many times before. I can't say much more than that.
Still, the look on Rebecca's face, the resentment and the pain, it hurts me as well to think that I'm the cause of that. It's a familiar one too, something I've seen a lot over the years. I wonder how long it'll take before Zach starts giving me the same one. Or until I've hurt Isabella in a way that any sincere apology won't ever be enough. What a mess. I'm a mess, and it's the people close to me who have to suffer for it.
I guess, if that's the case, there's nothing much I can do about it. You're off being what? A hero, I guess? And I shouldn't rag on you for that.
I could never get used to how quick she just forgives me for whatever shitty thing I do. Zach and Isabella, too. They've all been patient with me, unlike I with them. I don't deserve any of them for the kind of person I've turned out to be.
I'm hardly a hero, Becca. I'm just Ash.
I expect a retort, another one laced with bitterness. Instead, she laughs. Half-hearted, with barely a hint of cheer in it, but it's a laugh nevertheless. I honestly don't know what to make of it, what to do with myself upon hearing it. It's almost like the mere sound of it is meant to pierce.
The least you could have done is tell me. Maybe I could have helped, kept an ear and an eye out for you. I don't know. I could have been Irene Adler, maybe?
Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes, but the mask she tries so hard for me. I give her a smile of my own, though I imagine it comes off as unenthusiastic as hers. It's far easier to slip back to banter when it's like this, to brush off everything. At least this way, we wouldn't have to deal with awful things.
The woman? Don't flatter yourself. Nancy Blue, more like.
But, they can't do Nancy Drew, so they have to change it to Nancy Blue?
Her sidekick would beg to differ, Ashette.
I couldn't stop a wry grin from forming in my lips. She's probably still has the photo from the contest. Keeps it in her old diary. What, you cross-dressed or something? I never did find either of the two after I threatened to burn them. In the end, I just never brought it up again, hoping she'd just forget about the whole thing. But the small smile on her face says a lot. Those were good times. A lot simpler, a lot more peaceful. Now things have changed. We're no longer the same people we were as kids. Growing up together doesn't mean it will always has to be the two of us in the first place. It's a dumb notion to believe in. When nothing ever remains constant, things will inevitably change through the years. In fact, it already has, long ago. Not with the people we allowed into our retrospective lives, but also with us, as people, as friends. It really does get complicated as we get older, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, definitely does. Now everything has to be... Not everything has to be, though. Even if it's the form of a promise, I have no idea when I'll be able to fulfill.
I swear, I'll explain when it's all over.
The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca thankfully doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
The situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more... what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job's concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this. Orders are orders. This isn't like the movies. I don't get to say fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not my nature to sit still and do nothing. It'll drive me crazy if I just idle about. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night, specifically. The same stuff Zachary has been trying to tell me. Things even the news have been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all the deaths with the same modus blamed on a single serial killer? Or is that still the case?
Found dead in the early hours of the morning today.
Oh.
The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxbourne police.
We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place... Wait, fire. Sorry. The person that Lady Charlotte ended up burning at the stake. Although she didn't look burned, the ghost. I still have questions on that, but... burning people are found dead, burned alive? Suspicious. I really do think that's the ghost. I mean, who else could it be? And in such a small contained area with no one else dying. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation. Yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I can throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. And after Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eyes, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
I probably deserve that.
Yes, you do. We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. Okay, Rebecca confronted Ashton about what happened at the party the night before. Unable to tell her any details, the latter simply admitted it was confidential. Although Rebecca accepted this, her displeasure remained evident on her face. Yeah. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news. Then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe also drop by Zach's. Check on him, hear what he has to say. He also read the damn letter. Okay, I'm gonna call it here for now. Only 1%? What? Oh my god. Well, considering how... Look at this. Look. It's insane. The hell. Oh my god. So much. So much stuff. Well, that was a start. Oh my god. Well, right off the bat, Luke, Ash saw the ghost, so that's good. He still questions it, though. Can't really blame him considering it's how his personality is, but still. And Luke murdering a woman, a married woman, I still think that's probably Professor Clark. We'll be able to know more about that when we get further into that, but for now I'm going to leave it at that. Good starting off point. And I really do feel that, at least with Ash, we'll be able to get some answers. Not all, but we'll be able to get some in regards to why he's hunting Luke. And we already have. I mean, with drugs, possibly money laundering, a lot of other horrible stuff. And the fact that Suarez wants to leave, Kylie's dad wants to get out, that's something. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how that goes from there. But anyway, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful night, day, week, whenever, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys!